Alright, if you saw my last video, American Hustle, this was the second movie I saw today. Saving Mr. Banks. Okay, I've been waiting for this one for a while too. The trailer popped up, was it last June, I think? Last May, June, somewhere in there. Yeah, as soon as I saw the first trailer, I'm like, oh man, this could be the Academy Award winner this year for Best Picture. I said, this is looking really sweet, really awesome. And then, as talk went on, of course, Gravity, 12 Years a Slave, American Hustle, all these other films, and Nebraska have entered the race. And right now, Saving Mr. Banks is clearly down, almost to the point of it's a real question whether or not it's going to be on the list for Best Picture. I don't know what to say, except for the films I've seen this year, this one I think I would probably give a spot to, but it would have to be really low because there have been a lot of good films this year. I think my top 5, which I listed in the last video, are all worthy of Best Picture nominations. Every once in a while there'll be a summer blockbuster that I think overcomes the more serious drama, Oscar-minded films. In this case, the blockbusters this year just weren't all that great. This wasn't a great blockbuster year. This was a good award season year, though. Definitely. But all that aside, let's get to Saving Mr. Banks, the story of P.L. Travers, and she is the star, Emma Thompson. She just dominates this whole film as Travers, and I gotta say, it's one of the more lead actress, one of the better performances I've seen all year. Shailene Woodley was awesome and spectacular. Now, I just mentioned Amy Adams in American Hustle, did really, really well. Okay, let me think through here. Who else have I seen in leading roles for actress that have been really good? I think just those two are the three. Sorry, now Emma Thompson too. Okay, this is going to take a lot of thought. If any film that I'm thinking of that really comes to mind for leading actress that was really, really, really well done. Okay, those three I think are right now the ones I've seen. But we've got I haven't seen Cate Blanchett in Blue Jasmine yet. Let's see who else is up there. Judi Dench in Philomena. Haven't seen her. Meryl Streep, August Osage County. Haven't seen her yet. Oh, Sandra Bullock. Yeah, she was pretty good in Gravity. Yeah, I would probably give her. Oh boy, we're taking a look at Oscars this year. I think Cate Blanchett, just from the buzz around her, I think I would give her the win right now from what I've seen. I haven't even seen the film. I'm giving her the Academy Award. How about that? This is all from my opinion, but I'll get to the review here in just a second. But I like to do this every once in a while. I would include her on the list. Shailene Woodley would be in Best Actress. Emma Thompson now would be in Best Actress. Amy Adams would be in Best Actress. And I'd have to really wait and see who the fifth slot goes to, because it's between Judi Dench, Sandra Bullock, and Meryl Streep. Of those three, whichever one I think is strongest would get the fifth. But then again, I could see when I see all of them, then maybe I'll change my mind and someone else will go in and I'll boot somebody else out. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So yeah, this is the story of the making of Mary Poppins from 1964, and it's told mostly from the perspective of Travers. And she is our leading actress. She is our leading girl the whole movie. I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 scenes where she is not in the scene at all. So yeah, so kudos to the screenplay for being able to weave her in and out almost seamlessly. Even when she's not on screen, you kind of feel her presence, her coldness, is still felt. Because she is, Travers is just, I almost said it. I almost said bitch. But that's almost what she is. Almost down to the core. That's what she is. Because she is so straight-minded because, as we see in the flashbacks of the movie, she's had a troubled childhood, especially when it comes to parentage, and so the way, she is just, her mind is set, and she is not going to settle for anything. It's her way or the highway, or in this case, it's her way or the screen rights aren't granted. It's a really, really good performance, and Emma Thompson, you can just tell she is just loving this. She is just taking every minute and milking it for all it's worth. And of course, she's an Academy Award winner 2 times. One for not even acting, one for brilliant screenplay for a Sense and Sensibility. So she is definitely one of the better legends when it comes to actresses. Definitely in the last 20, 25 years. So that aside, let's get to the movie now. I gotta say, I was impressed, very impressed by the film, but there were a couple of things that really bothered me. Like, to the core, almost made me drop to like an 8, because I'm going to give the film a 9 out of 10, but it's a weaker 9. It's probably closer to an 8 out of 10 than a 9 out of 10, but I'm feeling really nice, because there were a couple of scenes that just worked. And when they worked, they were some of the better scenes I've seen all year. Really, they were. And then there were other scenes where I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't very good at all. That was a Man of Steel worthy scene. Oh, okay, I'm being a little mean now. But anyways, obviously the big thing that impressed me was the two performances from Emma Thompson and Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks as Walt Disney. Man, it's too bad that he's not going to get nominated for supporting actor, because I think he did a splendid job. Because Walt Disney, you've got to be talking about the craziest guy to accept that role. Because, I mean, Walt Disney, it's so hard to pick somebody to be Walt Disney. I mean, back in the day, if you were doing a biopic on Disney back in the 70s, you would probably pick either Richard Burton or maybe Peter O'Toole, and you'd be set, you know. Of course, I'm picking English actors, but even Charlton Heston wouldn't have been too bad as Walt Disney. You know, you're thinking, and then Tom Hanks comes to mind. You're just like, oh well, he's worthy. I mean, definitely, and he does. He does Walt Disney justice. But you know how it is. It's hard to nail Disney, and I think he does it just so well. And yeah, it is too bad that he's going to get nominated for Captain Phillips and not get a double nom. So, in this case, it is one of the better supporting performances I've seen this year. I would put him alongside, I really loved Bradley Cooper in American Hustle. I'd probably put him on the list. I really loved, I'm blanking right now, Daniel Bruhl in Rush. Splendid performance. Splendid performance. And we're talking supporting actors now. Who else have I seen that's been really good? I feel like I'm missing... Jeffrey Rush was pretty good in The Book Thief, but he's kind of the more second tier. Of course! How could I forget Jared Leto, Dallas Buyers Club? I've seen that one. If they don't give it to Leto, they better give it to freaking Michael Fassbender, because, I mean... From what I've heard, Fassbender dominates the screen in 12 Years a Slave. I haven't seen that one yet, but unfortunately I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, if I were to award supporting actor right now from what I've seen or from what I've heard about that's like the locks, I would put Jared Leto, he wins it, then Fassbender, and then probably Hanks, and then, oh boy. Do I put Cooper fourth or do I put Bruhl fourth? Probably Bruhl, and then Bradley Cooper getting the fifth slot. But then again, Jonah Hill, we haven't seen him yet in Wolf of Wall Street. I've heard he's not, he didn't, did he get nominated? No, he wasn't nominated for the Golden Globes. And he wasn't nominated for SAG, and was he nominated for SAG? No, he wasn't. And Critics' Choice, I don't think he was nominated there, so I think he's missing out. I think he's out of the category. And Hanks missed out on all three of those too, I think. So yeah, I mean, it's the supporting actor. Oh, I didn't include, but in the second tier, definitely, this probably the strongest of the second tier is Barkhad Abdi for Captain Phillips. Impressive first performance there. But we're getting way off track here. Let's get to saving Mr. Banks. So yeah, I have to say though that back when I was really little, like probably 3 years old, I think Mary Poppins was my all-time favorite Disney movie. And still today, when I look at all the Disney movies, there's a lot of good ones. But Mary Poppins is always toward the top of the list, if not the cream of the crop. Because Disney, I mean, he did such a great job with this film. He didn't direct it by any means, and he didn't, personally produce it, or write it, or anything. But you can tell this was a project of his that he took a lot of devotion into, and he made he took careful care of the film, and made sure it was the best that it could be. And of course, in the film, they show that he says to Pamela Travers the first time they meet, he says, "I want to take really special care of this. I made a promise to my daughters that I would make this film, and that as he says in the last one of the last scenes he's in, he says, the world's going to rejoice when they see this film. and all that, and the whole thing about the movie and P.L. Travers being really, really strict about this is because she does not want Disney to handle Mary Poppins. I think she wants to see a movie adaptation, but she's really, 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 really self-conscientious about it. She doesn't want to hand it over to the wrong person. So, that's, Warner Brothers, Paramount, MGM. One thing that a little bothered me was Walt Disney, they put their old logo on and stuff on their, because you come to the airport in LA and they've got, the guy from Warner Brothers, representative from MGM, and then you got Disney. And it's the old Disney, and then you've got recent Warner Brothers, recent MGM. I'm like, really? Disney, the cream of the crop when it comes to freaking monetary movie gain is can't afford to shell out $1 million for the old MGM logo to appear up, and $1 million, maybe $1.5 million, because Warner Brothers is higher up there, for the old Warner Brothers logo. Really? Production budget was $35 million. The marketing budget was probably only $20 million. God, you're not going to lose anything with this movie. Worldwide, this is probably going to get upwards of $100 million. You're set. $1 million here, that's okay. $1.5 million there, that's fine. Oh, and that just bothered me. Anyways, what was I talking about? I lost my train of thought. Of course, I do this live, and I've been home for a few hours, so I've processed all this. But yeah, I just love Tom Hanks in this performance, and he's really well written. Travers gets some really well written parts, but of course Emma Thompson, just on her own, she knows exactly how to handle each scene. So no complaints there. Acting was just gold. Even the supporting, we had Colin Farrell had a really nice turn as Travers' father. What's his name? Bradford Whitley, isn't that Bradford Whitley? The guy from Billy Madison, the bad guy from Billy Madison, is the screenwriter here. He did really, really well too. And then we've got, I think his name is B.J. Novak and Jason Schwartzman as the Sherman brothers, and as Bob and Dick Schwartzman. And just all those main characters were really, really well portrayed. So yeah, absolutely no complaints there. The cast just did very, very well in the film. Let's see. I loved all the stuff with Thompson and the three guys when they were doing changes to the script and changes to production for the way everything looked and stuff like that. Oh man, there were some zingers that she brought on that were just hilarious. Now, it's unfortunate that nobody, because I went to see this, and there was actually in a bigger city, unfortunately, there were no family audiences to this screening, and it was mid-afternoon, so that's understandable. They'd rather go to the later screening probably. But there were only people. I was the youngest one there by far, by 30 years easy. Okay, 40, maybe 50. I don't know. Everybody there was old, so it's too bad, and it's really sad that Walt Disney. You ask a kid who's maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, they don't know who Walt Disney is. When you say Disney, they just think of Disney Channel. Bastards, I hate that crap. Or they think of the Disney, just the film studio. Or they think of Disney World, Disneyland. I've been to Disney World. It's not the best thing in the world. Don't get too hopped up on sugar on that one. But Walt Disney, you look at the man and what he started, what he was. He was an idea man. He was a very, very personal man, family man, even though he did smoke a lot. That, I don't care. Talk about the iconic figures of America. This is one of them. This is one of them. We have our presidents. We have Abe Lincoln and George Washington. We have our second tier, not important in that era. We have Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson was also president. But what's his? I can't think right now. Give me liberty, give me death, guy. And then John Hancock, and all those people, and then we get to the more current age. We've got Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley, and in the entertainment industry, I think Walt Disney should be one of the first people that comes to mind easily. So I'm really glad they gave him a really good treatment for it was his first time on screen, portrayed by somebody else. Really, really well done, Hanks. I salute you. Kimosabe. Whatever. Okay, let's get to a couple of things I didn't like. There were a couple of moments in the film that were a little over the top. Sentiment, that's what I'm thinking of, with the sentiments. There's a couple of parts where, I don't know, particularly with a couple of lines of dialogue that I thought were really kind of cheesier. There's a scene it's okay between, I didn't mention, shoot, I should have mentioned him, Paul Giamatti as Ralph, the chauffeur for Travers. There's a really, really nice moment where she gets, she's like, just on her own time, and he walks up to her and they're just, playing in the grass a little bit and just talking about stuff. It's really well done, but it's just, there's a couple of lines where I'm like, oh, this is Lifetime movie stuff here. Overall, it's a good screenplay. I wouldn't probably, when we look at this year for original screen, I hate to go back to Oscars, this is my stuff, sorry guys. But like we look at the screenplay for American Hustle, for Her, for what's the other one I'm thinking of? Nebraska, and then like Inside Llewyn Davis, and even the ones that probably aren't going to be nominated. Rush, Enough Said. What am I thinking of here? What am I missing out on? There's a lot. And this is definitely the second tier, and I don't think it's going to get an original screenplay nomination. It'd be nice, but there's a lot of competition out there. Anyways, what was I? So there's a couple moments that were really well written though. One thing I didn't like at all. There's a lot of flashbacks. There's a lot of flashbacks to the younger P.L. Travers. Way too many. If the film was only, if the film's only going to be 100 minutes, I'm okay with it. Just cut out a few of those flashbacks. We get it. She had a relationship with her father. We get it. Her father was, there's a couple of scenes, there was only like maybe 2 flashbacks they could have used. And even, where they were as flashbacks, I would have been fine with it. Because I'm okay overall with flashbacks. Just as long as they don't use them too often and they don't use them too randomly, like Man of Steel's flashbacks were just so out there. The transitions were just so rough and so jumpy that you just couldn't figure it out. It took you about 5 seconds or a couple of shots, or a couple of cuts to figure out where you were. Okay, are we in the current time, or are we in Clark's past, or are we what? Where are we? Kind of like It. The Stephen King's It. So jumpy back and forth. It's almost to the point of every time there's a flashback, you're laughing because you're just like, another flashback. Who is it? Like Nostalgia Critic and people like that. Oh yeah, they do way too much of that crap. Anyways, so I thought, and Colin Farrell, he gave a good performance in this, as Travers' father, but I think he was on screen too much. Just overall, too many flashbacks with his character. There was one part where he really embarrasses himself because he, not to spoil anything, but he's a drunk and he's kind of, he's not the best father figure. I mean, we see that he does well with imagination and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just wouldn't have included, if I were the person in charge of this whole thing, I would have cut that out of the picture. I think it just drug on, and the only thing I think it did, it didn't add too much, because in the general, by the end, there's a moment where all that leads to something, but I just felt like we could have gotten there quicker without all these flashbacks. I think it probably would have been as strong, maybe not quite as strong. It still would have worked, and I think there was that when the big moment comes, it's kind of a more emotional moment. I fell for it. I was involved enough in the picture, even though every time they flashed back, I was like out of it for a minute. And then they would usually these flashbacks are not more than like 5 shots. They're not very long. So I don't know why they needed so god dang many of them, but if it were me, I would not have done as many flashbacks, like at all. Like almost cut out the notion of flashing back like at least once every 5 minutes within the first half hour of the movie. That was way too many for me, and that really brought the score down. But yeah, there were moments, yeah, when they, like, especially with the Sherman Brothers, when they're writing the music and they're figuring the music out, when, especially when they do Let's Go Fly a Kite and A Spoonful of Sugar, I was singing along in the crowd. Well, there was only, like, maybe a total of 30 people in the audience in a 200 seat theater, but I was just quietly singing myself, just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, and so on. And I was like, I'm so sad because I haven't seen Mary Poppins actually in a while, and I remember with so fond memories, even though it's a long movie, Mary Poppins, it's like almost 2.5 hours, I just remember I would sit through it, and I'd probably rewind it, and within a few hours, I'd go back and watch it again in the same day. I just love that movie, especially probably one of my favorite sequences of all time in film is the Mary Poppins Step in Time at the end of the movie with all the chimney sweeps. Oh, it is so amazing to watch. Even to this day, it is an impressive sequence. And in all-time like dance sequences, I love, we're going to cut out for a second here, away from St. Mr. Banks for just a minute, but like the stuff with Fred Astaire in Royal Wedding where he's dancing on the ceiling and the walls is, for its time, yeah, it looks kind of cheesy now and kind of bad, but for its time, oh man, just imagine the exhilaration in the theater to see that. It still stands as one of the better dance sequences of all time in musicals. And the stuff from Mary Poppins with the chimney sweeps is impressive to watch. I could be here for a while, and I could talk about oh God, what's the name of it? The one with Gene Kelly where he's we could be here for a year talking about all this, but let's continue here. I think I've trailed off long enough. Otherwise, there wasn't a whole lot wrong with it. Otherwise, the pace went actually pretty well. The one-liners were sometimes, well, not like necessarily one-liners, but like the little zippy lines went over really well with the audience. Lots of laugh out loud moments, lots of chuckle moments. So it's definitely more of the musical comedy versus a drama. Overall, there are a lot of dramatic moments in the film, but I don't know why Golden Globes put American Hustle in the comedy category, and this was more considered, I guess, a drama, even though it wasn't nominated for Best Drama. This would probably be more fitting toward comedy, just for my taste. But we'll see how that goes. Because then you also look at it when they're doing the music and stuff. Sure, let's call it a musical too. Comedy musical. There you go. So I don't know. I just loved Hanks and Thompson. I know for sure that Thompson's going to be nominated for Best Actress, but I wish Hanks could be on the list. I really wish he could. But it's when you get to it, there's like 7 guys in the supporting actor category that are worthy of nominations. Well, that's fair and better than Best Actor. Best Actor, there's like at least a good 16, or not 16, like 12. Best Actor is going to be a crapshoot. Last year, supporting actor there was like 20. Oh man, supporting actor last year was nuts. Man. And then, the Academy Awards, I think, just besides Best Actor, I think we're getting our 5 slots pretty well filled here. So not to totally detract from the movie review, just to talk about Oscars for a while, but I'm gonna do one of those videos again, the Oscars at a glance. We'll do a second video, and then I'll do a final one before the nominations are announced, and then I'll do one. Hopefully I can do a live video where I see them announced live, and then I can just I can just show you my live reactions, and then a few weeks after they're announced, I'll say this is how they're going, and then probably I'll just do one more, my final predictions, and I'll do the awards live. I like to do that live. So that's what's coming up in the long stretch. Otherwise, this could potentially land a spot on my top 10 list. There's a lot of good movies out there, but this is one of the better ones I've seen all year. A lot of great moments in the film, and I highly recommend you to go see it. And I think Family Audiences could really handle this too. It's rated PG-13, but there's only there's every once in a while there's a little blood. Not to spoil anything, but that's what happens to the P.L. Travers' father character. Is he eventually, he's got a sickness or something. He's coughing up blood in a few scenes. So otherwise, there's a little bit of shouting every once in a while, but children can handle that. and there's a little bit maybe of alcohol or smoking references, but children can handle that. Half of you probably parents do it at home, so I think it's totally appropriate for family audiences, and they're gonna. I hope they really get a kick out of it. In a few sequences for sure that revolve around Mary Poppins and involve the little P.L. Travers girl, and really though, I think parents, if you have not shown your children Mary Poppins, I highly, highly recommend that you sit your kids down and say, here, and then show them Mary Poppins. It is a magical movie and one of Disney's best. So I'm so glad that they can shine a spotlight on Mary Poppins because it's coming up on its 50th anniversary this next year. Actually, next December it'll be 50 years old. Yeah, I'm really, really glad that this lets us see that Mary Poppins is a film, that we can remember it, and that it's a good one. So I think I've said my piece on it. So yeah, 2 great movies added into the list that I've seen this year. What else do I have to see this year? Still Anchorman 2. I'm actually going to get together with my family, I think on Monday or within this next week here, the week of Christmas, I think when we're all home, because a lot of them are now in college, when we're all home, we're all around, I think we're all going to go see it together because, yeah, I'm looking forward to that by far. I'm looking forward to that a lot. So, otherwise, that, and then Inside Llewyn Davis, I've got to see that before I unveil my top 10 list, because that is, I got to tell you right now, from what I've seen of the film, that looks like it can land a spot. Martin Scorsese's Her. That would be a very interesting project. No, Martin Scorsese's Wolf of Wall Street comes out Christmas Day. I am pumped for the movie. The early reviews are in. They're pretty good. I think a few people are just not very happy with Scorsese doing a comedy, but pussies. Okay, sorry, that was a little extreme, but yeah, seriously, let Scorsese do whatever the hell he wants. He's 70-something years old, 71, 72, whatever. Just let him do a comedy. Fine. Pansies, Scorsese should only do drama. BS, man. You make me want to flip you off, whoever that is. But yeah, really though, I think it looks like one of the finer films of the year. Even though it's going to be 3 hours long, I'm really pumped because Scorsese, when he can let his films go as long as he wants them to go, like what was the one I mentioned not too long ago? Like Taxi Driver. I think that one he couldn't have gone too much farther in. One of his better movies. I think Goodfellas, which I felt he could have gone longer on. Probably, it's still one of his better movies, if not his best. But yeah, The Departed, I felt, went as long as it should have went. One of his better movies. So as long as Scorsese's given his free range to do however long he wants, in this case 3 hours, if he can tell it in 3 hours and he's really happy with it, yeah, that means it's going to be pretty damn good. And then Spike Jonze's Her. Man, I gotta tell you, I am, just like with American Hustle, I am ready to bust a lip to see this movie. I am so excited for it. Anticipation is really high for me, so I'm going to try to settle down, not let my preconceived expectations overrule me like the way they did in Man of Steel. I've got to tell you guys, I think I owe that film another viewing just to see if it was as bad as I thought it was. Because maybe I think what happened was I was so pumped from the expectations that Christopher Nolan, I almost said Chris Knight, oh man, it's late, I gotta wrap this up, that Christopher Nolan set up from Dark Knight trilogy that I was probably expecting a little more than maybe that we could have gotten. Maybe Man of Steel, as it is the best we could have gotten. So I owe that one a red box view. I don't think I need to buy that one, but yeah, so with that, I'll do it again, just so it's over. And Saving Mr. Banks, highly encouraged. Mary Poppins, highly, highly recommended.